flip and flip to do what I need to do. So there is another issue, and notice that when I compress these, they're no longer sitting kind of sideways. There's no gappiness even if I take my fingernails apart. That's pretty much how I deal with this. Except there are another couple of ways to deal with the actual wrapping. And one of them is to scooch your work all the way close to the ends, whatever your ends look like. And when you do that, it becomes a whole lot easier to get things done this way. And we'll push this back where it belongs, and then we come up here and there. And back around here. The other way is actually my preferred method, because usually I'm doing this particular weave very, very wide. So there's something in the way usually. And sometimes you'll run into that you'll have to keep weaving, and both ends will be closed and you don't have an open interval to take your wire through. So most people have a tendency to do this. They take it through like that, hang on to it here, and then pull. That is the surest way to get kinks in your work. And the reason is because this wire end right here it tries to rotate when you do that. If you've got your hands on it as if it were a needle, it can't do that. So what I do is I keep everything in the right place like that. And when I want to go across, let's see, where am I? Okay, I'm over a long one. Back around. Okay, so here's where I have to take it between. And usually when I do that, I don't do it like a needle and thread. I do it by making a little loop and pushing it up between. Stick my thumb in it and flip it through. And then pull it into place. It makes things a whole lot easier to do that way. Back here, and when I'm going to do it the other way, I just kind of make a little loop, push it through, and then it just flips through like that. Back around. When your wire's really, really long, you will thank me, because when you do it like this, the end is free to twist while you're hooking it with your finger. Here, let me show you while I'm here and here, and we'll put it through like this. When it gets really, really short, you can even stick something in it and flick it up, right? So the end is absolutely free to twist, so it doesn't have to create nasty little kinks in the actual part of the wire here. And notice there are hardly any gaps in that, no matter how I turn it. Not a lot of gapping there. And the ladder rungs are pretty straight up and down. But there's another little thing I want to show you, because for this, you pretty much started, and it was a pain in the butt to start it so that there was the proper gap right in here, so they sat right on top of one another. Let's try this again, just a little bit of again, okay? And I'll show you on in a different sizing how you can get that going. I didn't have another piece of wire cut like a big silly. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and anchor one more time. Okay. And instead of adding just one other wire, and by the way, this would be done in wire, we're going to add 2. Only the one in the center is never going to be wrapped around. It's going to be wrapped over only, or under only. We're never going to wrap around it singly. It acts as a spacer the entire way down. So here we go. We're going to go over, and then we're going to go around the outside and over, back behind everything. I'm going to do my little thing with the loop, just so I can show you how it comes through. There we go. Push it up, and then over. I know this is difficult here. Make sure it gets pushed up. You can do it at the end if you want it that way. And then I'm going to go in the back again. Yeah. And up over the top. Back to this side. Over the top, between them, back here. Angle it back at itself. Back behind everything. Push everything up. Between. Over the top. The thing is with knitting needles, they stay nice and straight, so you can see what you're doing every single time here. Back behind. Again, I'm going to cinch them up a little bit. Back behind. In between. Over the top. Oops. In between. Over the top. Cinch it up. Back behind. Over the bottom. Over the top of both. Here. Okay, so I think maybe I've done enough. But again, when I get it going, and there's a lot of wire, there we go, over the top, back behind, back up through the bottom, right there, and it's right there. It just gets easier if you're really having a really hard time with keeping your wires straight and keeping it from kinking. This is a much, much better way to go. So we'll come around the back up through it, there, and to the back. Okay, so now I know you can see this nice little weaving job here. This is pretty nice and straight, considering, but this is another way to keep a space in this particular weave. So now what I'm going to do is hang on to the weave and pull the center wire completely out. And when I do that, you can see a little bit better why this is called ladder weave. And here I'm going to compress it so it's really pretty this way. And we can let it go out like this, but you can see why it's ladders. The rungs of the ladder are in the middle here, right? And then the outsides are there. But again, you can I want you to see how well this separates these out. This is what it looks like if you spread it apart. And I'm going to hold this like this for a second so you can kind of study it, and it helps you see where the thread path goes. It goes around this one, over the top of both, around the top, in back of both, around the bottom, in front of both, around the top, in back of both. That's how you deal with this one. So here we go. I'm going to scrunch it back up here, and it's nice and neat and pretty. But there's the danger. If you undo it, you have to have something that will hold it still on both ends after that. And the only way pretty much to do that is to anchor it up against something or to wrap it extremely tightly on one end, and it'll stay a little bit more pushed together. So there you have it. There's that one, and then there is the one with the really, really nice interval in between there. Okay. I hope this helped you. I hope you learned something. I hope it helps you make your wire weaving better. And if you have any questions, contact me here on YouTube. I'd love to hear your comments. You can also go to my